morning comes. Doing it all night, all summer. Gonna spend it like no other. It was a crush, but I couldn't get enough. It was a rush, but I gave it up. It was a crush. Now I might have wanna said too much, but that's all it was. So I gave it up. I live my day as if it was the last. Live my day as if there was no past. Doing it all night, all summer. Doing it the way I wanna. Yeah, I'ma dance my heart out till the dawn, but I won't be done when morning comes. Doing it all night, all summer. Gonna spend it like no other. It was a crush. I kept saying I'ma stay in touch. I'm just a bachelor. I'm looking for a partner. Someone who knows how to ride without even falling off. Gotta be compatible. Takes me to my limits. Girl, when I break you off, I promise that you won't wanna get off.
I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being, God damn it! My value!
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly.
Oh, is that what it is? Well, I don't want you to violate the law. Get in your back number, he'll leave you alone. Yeah.
Good works are done in light, so what's done in darkness needs to be brought to light. And it's up to us, citizen media, to be out here and expose it.
We will stand and fight.
Seeking answers to age-old questions. Deciphering the world painted around you by the mainstream media. This is the KEV Baker Show. And now, here is your host, KEV Baker.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are back. We are live right here on the KEV Baker Show on Truth Frequency Radio, www.tfrlive.com. So I'm coming to you from the smart land of Glasgow in the heartland of Scotland. We've got great listeners, amazing people down in Australia. We've got listeners up in Alaska. We've got Sid and a couple more over in Norway. And we've even got people in Nebraska. And we do that right here on tfrlive.com. Truth Frequency Radio. The home. One of the last bastions of free speech. And never has that been made so clear as today. Because the great purge of 2020 is underway. Yes, YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki. I hate pronouncing her name. We'll call her Susan. She was out on the media the other day, and she was asked about whether or not she would go after channels that are talking about, QAnon. Now, at the time, she was actually quite vague about whether they would or wouldn't go after that group of content creators. However, in the past 12 hours or so, things have changed drastically. Very, very drastically indeed. In fact, I would imagine right now people listening to this show, it wouldn't surprise me if I was to find out that some of maybe your go-to channels on YouTube, some of your favorite content creators are not there anymore. We've had absolutely massive been taken down. And you know, I've been very outspoken on the subject of QAnon itself, but that in no way means that I advocate for the taking away of people's channels, the taking away of the ability for people to speak their mind, put their content out there. I believe in freedom of choice. I think if you don't like something, we should be big enough and adult enough to be able to turn away from it, not be offended, not see it as a danger to anything that we hold to be true ourselves, and far from it be a danger to democracy. Because that's what these big tech giants are trying to say. They're trying to say that anyone talking in a certain way, oh, you're affecting the elections, when ironically, paradoxically, the actions that they're taking, in my opinion, are absolutely influencing the elections that they say they're trying to protect the integrity thereof. And you know me, I'm not left or right. I think they're both cheeks of the same toxic backside, and they're only separated by the finest crack in the middle. But at the end of the day, they're all one big club, right? But it would appear to be, and it's a no-brainer, it's there for everyone to see, that the censorship, it's not across the board. It just seems to be aimed at one side. If you're in any way, shape, or form supporting Donald Trump right now, you've got a target on your back. And I'm no Trumpster. But that's why it's insanity for these big tech giants to claim that they're doing all of this in the name of protecting election integrity, when in reality, they're only silencing one side. Some of the channels that have gone today, just to give you an example, Destroying the Illusion, Jordan Sather, Red Pill 78, Praying Medic, Joe M, X22 Report, SGT Report, Edge of Wonder, Woke Societies, Amazing Polly, Patriot Soapbox, gone. Dustin Nemos, gone. Sarah Westall, gone. In the Matrix and so many more. And it's still happening. There'll still be more channels disappearing as we speak now. Touch wood. At the point of going live today on tfrlive.com, my YouTube channels were still there. But it's only a matter of time. The playing field is being changed. No, it's been eradicated. It truly, truly is. And it's happening right now. Now, I've got Jimmy Jeans here to join in with me to talk about what's going on. The great tech purge of 2020. I think that's what we'll call it. So, Jimmy Jeans, let me bring you in here, my good friend. You're still kicking about on YouTube, I take it, yes?
Yeah, but I'm
Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm on my backup channel. I got, luckily for me though, it seems like a stroke of luck actually, because since my main channel is on strike zone for 3 months, I won't be able to use it. So I'll be under the radar, out of the picture while the rest of the heads are being chopped, and I'll still be there. I'm on my, like I say, I'm on my backup channel, you know. So yeah, the purge has begun, and you know, the thing about it is you know, all the things leading up to this moment are really important, you know. And you brought up every single one of these main points that have led up to this moment on your show, you know. And it's so you know, one of the things is that they've been passing all these laws, that didn't apply to anybody. Everybody was looking at the laws they were passing and going, oh, that doesn't apply to me. Yeah, we need one of those kind of laws, right? And now those laws are going to come back into effect. And what I honestly believe is going to happen is this whole terrorist apparatus that's been set up is going to be turned back around on the American people, and it's going to be turned right back around on the right-wing, gun-owning Christian conservatives. They're going to be the number one enemy in my book. That's what's going on, Kev. I mean, the Department of Defense has listed the right-wing militia groups as the number one terrorist threat in America right now. So these channels that have been taken down seem to fall on this sort of right-wing leaning, which is an important demographic as far as the LARP is concerned, because that's the specific demographic that will not take the mark of the beast. They will not submit to any of these measures. And if you take a look around yourself in reality, in the real world, not in the LARP, but in the real world, you walk outside, look around, and see everybody who's wearing a mask and who isn't. And you can see by the amount of people wearing masks versus the ones that aren't. That is if you want to look at the numbers, the microcosm, as it were, that's the number of people who won't take the vaccine. If they don't have a mask on, they're probably not going to take the vaccine. So that's a small number compared to the rest of everybody else, Kev.
Absolutely, Jimbo. Absolutely. I'm just smiling because I was watching you talking there, and it looked like, because I can see Jimmy on camera, it looked like he was slowly falling out of the camera shot because he was leaning over. But, being a long-time YouTuber, I've been on there over 10 years. I've seen a lot of changes come and go. Dang, I remember when, at one point, they used to give out awards, like regionally, number one alternative news channel. They actually used to have little awards every month for how they would rank you against other people in your country and things like that. And I suppose that was one way to hook you in, right? Because it gave you that dopamine squirt. Oh, look at this, brilliant. Oh, I'm number 8 this week. Wonder if I can get to number 7 next week. And then, of course, that all changed. Google came along, they bought it, and it got well changed after that. But they have allowed basically anyone to become someone. Not everybody that goes to YouTube will hit it off. Not everyone has that instant rapport or appeal to an audience, But they have created, let's face it, millionaires along the way. People that maybe wouldn't have got a big shot. People who wouldn't have been spotted by some talent company. And for every bit as good as that has been, well, now we are where we are. And it's no longer YouTube. It's ThemTube. And I've been demonetized a couple of times, a couple of years ago when they first started going through it all. And then earlier on this year, when we were talking about COVID, and I still find it quite ironic that I was actually probably out of the alternative media, and people hated me for it. I was probably closest to what the World Health Organization were saying, but yet I was deemed harmful. And it was at that point I had to sit down myself and Anne, because, this affects family life, and I had to look at what we were doing, and I had to basically make a decision at that point. And that's why KBS, what we do here on TFR, is an entirely different entity, an entirely different animal altogether, where we tackle any kind of topics, the big stories of the day like we are doing here. And I had to make a decision back in March last year, do we go on with YouTube at all? And I enjoy YouTubing. There's a bit of a narcissist in me. There's a bit of a narcissist in anyone that goes on to YouTube. And since I do enjoy the YouTubing, I had to be honest with myself. I had to realize that you can't talk about the news. You can't talk about current affairs. And with this being an election year in particular, I always knew that it was going to get crazy. I thought it would have happened before now, because we're quite close to that election. There's literally people voting in the US right now, right? So we're in the midst of the election. I thought this clampdown would have come sooner. But it's why, Jimmy, months ago, when it came to KBS2, it went pure woo. I just keep it for fun. I intentionally try to distract people from the madness that's going on out there. Why? A, I enjoy YouTubing. be it somewhere where people can come, hang out, chill out, a little safe space away from the madness. 3, got a lot of supporters there that help me enable to do what I do, carry on doing what I do with the super chats, the memberships. And of course, we've got TFR with the people who subscribe over here. And that's why, for me, it's not that I'm better than anyone. Far from it. It's why I had to make that kind of drastic change to things months ago. And a lot of people didn't like it. They didn't like it. And I get it. I absolutely get it. They would love me to be talking this way over on YouTube as well. But you just can't do it. Because today would have been the mountain that I would have died on that same mountain as well, Jimmy. You know, there would have been no more YouTube for KBS. Crazy times, dude. It's not good. I don't agree with it. But what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm the type of guy, man. You know, we're friends in real life, flesh and blood. You know, right here, you know, I go down and see you at the pub. I'm the kind of guy. I'm the
virtual pub.
Yeah, but I mean, in real life, I'm the kind of guy that when I look at the landscape and I see something's about to happen, I shoot you a look, and I head towards the door. In other words, I say, "Hey, Kev, man, I'm getting out of here, man. Something's about to go down." So the thing that's hard for me is I've made a lot of really great friends through the years here doing shows, and I feel bad because I want to shoot you all that look and head for the door. Okay? But I miss you, and I don't want to. I feel like if I was to unplug the internet, 75% of my daily interaction with people would be gone, because most of the people I interact with is around the show and around doing the show.
Same here, dude. I mean, I don't get out much with the health and things, so I mean, I'd be totally like you, 75%, 80%, you know?
Yeah, so I mean, the thing is, you know, on some level, I want to head towards the door, but on another level, I got to keep doing it as long as the internet's going to be here and as long as I have a channel. You know, my channel's never been monetized. You know, I've never enjoyed the benefits of YouTube simply because I've always done what I wanted to do on YouTube, and if that meant that I got shut down for 3 months, then that's what it meant. And so I don't have a bunch of subscribers, you know, on my channel. But you know what's really funny is that 6 months ago, my co-host went to our channel and he took a screenshot of it. We had 2 million subscribers. And then a couple months ago, a listener sent me one that said we had 4 million subscribers. And I just got another one from another listener who went to the page and said we had 6 million subscribers. It doesn't matter to me. I do the same show for 10 people as I would for 6 million people. But what I want to bring to the table is maybe I accidentally discovered something here. You know, maybe the real numbers of how many subscribers people have is really obscured. Maybe they give you a cap. Maybe they say, we'll let Kev make a certain amount of money, but above and beyond that, we won't let him know that he got all these millions of subscribers. But when we're selling advertising time on Kev's channel, we can entice the buyers with all these other numbers that Kev is never getting access to or never gets to see. So I've spent most of my time basically testing YouTube, Kev, and I haven't been building my channel. But you, on the other hand, on your main channel, had over 100,000, almost. Didn't you have 100,000 subscribers?
Yeah, nearly. I would say if people are seeing millions of subscribers on your channel and taking screenshots of it, then I'd put that down to a glitch, Jim. I'd put that to a glitch, man.
It very well could be a glitch, you know, but it very well, you know, it could be something else. I mean, based on what we're seeing with all of these electronic means of manipulation that is just like out of control, to the point where this thing that's happening with this purge and this idea of Q and all the things around Q. And you know, regardless of what you believe in Q, even if you don't believe in anything in Q, and you're just a tech company that wants to scrape data, imagine the data that you could scrape by just merely tapping in to the Q community. just merely tapping into it. You don't even have to influence it, just merely tapping into the mentality of that. You know, I saw an upside down pyramid somebody put together that was kind of funny to me, because it was an upside down pyramid, and then at the bottom, you know, it had this and that with real lightweight conspiracy theories. And as it went up the levels, it got the levels got wider and wider. And when you got to the last level, it had all this stuff, like 30 different things there. And the little space in between, when you're going from one level to the next level, in between, it said point of no return. So in other words, once you get into that last level of those type of conspiracy theories, you're never coming back to reality. And it's an interesting concept. I'm not saying that that's the way that it is, but when you think about it, if you were to isolate yourself, well, you're pretty much isolated because it's a minority in the community. So if you were to just go out in the regular world and maybe even sit down with a psychologist and tell them like 3 or 4 of the main storylines in the LARP right now, and tell them that you believe that, you'd be in the 3rd floor down at the psych ward. Not you. I mean, me too. If I went out there and I said some of this stuff that we know to be true, that we know it to be a fact, but if I was to sit down in a psychologist's office and say that to them, do you think that they would think I was sane?
I barely think you're saying on a good day, Jimmy. I thought you were still going there, man. I thought you were still going. I'm thinking, is he still going?
You know,
you're right. You are right. You are right. There's a lot of reasons people get into what they would call conspiracy theory. Been actually reading a bit up about this recently with everything that's going on, the psychology side of things. Been a lot of actual articles in psychology journals. They've been watching closely what's been going on online, and I think with something like Q, we'll take Q for example, because it kind of goes above and beyond a lot of phenomena that we've seen online, and they were writing about that, saying that for some people, Jimmy, and remember that social media will very much make us believe that when we do pick a side or a story or a narrative, that it's absolutely 110% right and everyone else is wrong, okay? So immediately when you fall into something like that, you're going to have social media validating everything that you regurgitate on that particular topic. So all of a sudden, you've got maybe somebody who, for whatever reason, maybe they've not got many friends, maybe their social circumstances, whatever it is, but all of a sudden, they're instantly validated and part of this unique, special group. A group that will tell each other that they're brilliant, they're right, they're bang on. You'll reinforce their ideas as well. And this is growing into something that people call it a cult. I'm as guilty as that of anyone. I suppose it's a bit wrong of me. I've only got a problem with the people that are knowingly pushing a lie. People that have followed it, nothing against them. It's been a cleverly constructed thing. You were meant to fall for it. It's a LARP. It's a game. And it's almost as if, Jimmy, QAnon in particular, it's as if that really has grown into something that's transcended the internet, and to call it an altered reality game, call it some kind of augmented reality. But literally, like you were saying a moment ago, and we'll use it as an example again because I've got an article about YouTube banning QAnon after the break. We'll get into that. But it's growing into something that is, for me, unprecedented, Jimmy. It truly, truly is. And what happens now? What happens now that kind of feed, that info stream that they were all plugged into, what happens to these people now that it's gone?
Well, the whole thing is a life is tied to it, just like we were just talking about us personally with the internet, with our friends that we've made all over the world that we can't contact or talk to unless we're doing it on the internet. The thing about it is, man, is that as far as Q being a LARP, I mean, it's part of it's part of the LARP. It's a sub LARP in the LARP as a whole. So the thing about it is about 6 or 7 months ago, I realized that the alternative media in and of itself was a LARP. And I realized, and if you kind of overlay some stuff on it. So let's just overlay basic stuff. People in chat rooms don't use their name. So those people are all nameless and faceless. Some of them are bots, some of them aren't. But let's just say all the comments that get made, all the stuff, all the information that gets dropped, all of this stuff, it's all a LARP, man. And then, but the thing is then once you realize that it's a LARP, then you look around yourself and go, wait a minute, man. I'm part of this LARP. I'm adding to the LARP. I'm adding to the fantasy of the LARP. I'm inflaming the hot button issues. I'm doing all my, you know what I'm saying, Kev? I mean, it's kind of weird that.
Oh, dude. Hey, listen, you're at where I've been at for maybe a year or so now, maybe, wondering what role I'm actually playing in all of this. Not deliberate role, but kind of accidentally propagating stories that are out there for a reason. They've been put in my social media feed for me to talk about one way or another, fueling one side or another. I think if podcasters aren't thinking about that, they're probably not being as responsible as they should be, because we're all being played. Anyone that tells you they're not being played or they can see it all and they're outside of it and they're above it all, no. We're all being played here, folks. And that's why sometimes, Jimmy, when there's been real big things going on in the world, people have been writing to me frustrated because I wouldn't talk about them. Well, A, I don't know what's right and what's wrong. And B, even to talk about it, to expose something. What are you doing? You're just helping to keep that thing alive. Me talking bad about QAnon every time I've done it is no better than Pamphlet Anon, Praying Medic, Dustin Nemos, Jordan Sather, Tracy Beans, and all the other people that have posted as Q. Because whether you're talking for or against it, you're still helping to propagate it. Whether you're exposing paedophilia or not, do you know what you're doing? You're actually helping to normalize it. Because it's not shocking the next time the person sees something on their Facebook feed, and that's you not desensitizing people to something that we know there's an agenda to make normal. So yeah, Jimmy, I have been there. I have had to think, and that's why I relish going into the woo, the strange, the abnormal, because it's the kind of conversations you can have where hopefully, there's not some flip back after the big thing.
I bet you that break music never sounded so good. What are you guys up to? Hey, so I'm running this here. This we did last week. So hang on a second. Let me just get this dialed in here so we can start it right when we want to. Okay. Anyway, so my name's Jimmy, obviously. You guys are here. Thanks for joining me. Let me find my window so I can see the chat. Hang on a second. There we go. All right, yeah. Hey, Platos. What's up, Lewis? What's up, Lee? What's up, moderate extremist? What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining in. Hey, Onslow. So this is the KEV Baker Show. We did. So it goes right into the archives, and he can't put this on his channel. So we talked about it, and he said it was okay that I ran it. I mean, because, you know, obviously here we are. So hopefully it sounds good, and we're about to get into it. We're only 30 minutes into it, so I'm going to stop it every time there's a break. So every 30 minutes I'll stop it. There is the, I don't know if you guys can see this. Maybe I should make it bigger so you can read this. You see this? This right here is definitely something you should check it out. I mean, I think it's funny. I mean, I'm not saying the whole thing is, you know, as it is, but I'm just saying if you look at it, look at all these things up here at the top where when you go past this one area, you're at the point of no return. It's just funny, man. It's just funny to me. It's not based in reality. Who knows, man? Here we go.
Smart City, Glasgow, spied on by Tel Aviv. So I know that I'll be sleeping safe tonight. Is Israel looking after you? Come on. I feel real cutesy and warm when I go to bed at night, Jimmy, knowing that our friends in Mossad, I mean Tel Aviv, are watching our CCTV over here. But we're moving into the second part of the show now. Jimmy's going to be sending me through an article that we'll get into later on in the show about a Bill of Rights for dignity online, protecting our data. Jimmy, dang, that sounds like our kind of thing.
I know. I was infatuated with it. Well, Jaron Lanier is one of the OGs, Silicon Valley, one of the whole earth catalog techies, you know, come with the hippie vibe into the tech world. So he's been around for a long time, man, and he's been an outspoken advocate and really breaking down for the public exactly what's going on behind the scenes with everything. So he's putting forward these few pieces, these Bill of Rights, and he's saying that some people in the future, once they get control of their data, for example, I'll give you a good example. If it costs money to get my data to use it against me and it's not free, then most of the people trying to get your data, if they had to pay for it, they wouldn't want it. As long as they get it for free, they'll do it because they can get away with it. But if they had to pay for it, if there's a mechanism where you got paid, so he's saying in the future, it's possible for people to make between $1,000 and $2,800 a month.
This is nothing new, Jimmy. We've covered this before. Remember, we covered George Church. He was starting something. I think it was called Nebula. I want to call it Nebula. Doesn't matter. But his idea was, since there was pharmaceutical companies already like paying hospitals for medical records and your DNA and stuff like that. Instead of like them making the money, you would basically have all of your medical information on the blockchain, and then companies would have to come to you. No middleman, nothing. They would come directly to you and they'd negotiate with you. I very much think in the next 10 years, ownership of what is ours is going to become a real big thing. You see in the world of computer gaming, I can refer to that because I'm familiar with it. But I like my soccer, football, as everyone knows. And in there, a lot of the negotiations when it comes to the bigger players in the real world comes to something called image rights. You know, who makes the money off your particular image? Does the club make all the money of photographs of the player, or does the player get a cut of that? And that's basically what we're talking about here for our data. Everyone's data. And people are buying it, people are using it. And like Jimmy says here, I mean, I think it's, well, me personally, I can't speak for Jimmy. I think this is going to be something that will be a big thing in the future. Us maybe, hopefully, taking control of our data and then making money off it. We're moving into a world, Jimmy, where there's going to be a lot less jobs as well. Universal basic income, it's going to become a thing in one way, shape, or form. It's going to be part of a new economy when you're that data-driven economy. because it is going to be a data-driven economy. Your own data could be making you your money.
That's it. That's exactly what the plan is. I mean, so, he lays it out. That's a video. It's not an article. It's 13 minutes long. The first half of it is describing what's going on to people and how they're being manipulated by the internet. And the second half is him putting forward the thing. It's like a 13-minute thing. So
we'll get to that later on in the show.
Yeah,
I've got that there. I'm going to carry on quickly on this YouTube.
Yeah, but this ties into what we're talking about, though, ladies and gentlemen, because Q is a giant data scraping operation. So let's just say there's millions of followers of Q.
Everything's a data scraping operation. You and me know that the LARPers at the center of it, that they will have been selling people's data, because at one point
they're getting it for free.
They were selling. No, but I mean, it's one thing.
That's what I mean. We're throwing logs on the fire. See, we're contributing to the LARP. They're getting information for free.
You were talking about data scraping, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how much data can be scraped from somebody just going over and looking at it on social media? Not too much, really. But what they were doing was they were getting you to download an app, the QAnon app. Now, that was free. And what do we say about any free apps? Ain't no thing such as a free app. And this is where a character by the name of 420 Anon comes into the picture at the Patriot Soapbox. And yeah, absolutely, there's been data getting scraped at the back of this, on top of the Go Fund our super secret Q guy that nobody knows about. So yeah, but let's move on to this story, because I want to get to this story before we...
By all means.
Here we go. So this came out just an hour or so ago on the UK media. It's The Guardian. YouTube announces plans to ban content related to QAnon. It says here, YouTube said Thursday it will begin banning some content related to QAnon, a massive and baseless online conspiracy theory movement that has been tied to real-life violence. The online video service said in a blog spot it would remove conspiracy theory content used to justify real-world violence from its network. Now, this here is where myself and Scotty, Jim, Joe, most of the people I can think of when we were first covering what QAnon was, and more importantly what it would turn out to be, we said, don't be surprised if one day they come after all conspiracy on the back of this. And it says the online video service said in a blog spot it would remove conspiracy theory content. You see, this is the thing, folks. As much as I use Q as an example today, they're the biggest, boldest one. It's easy to use them. They've got the biggest kind of influencers, people we know. But it's everything that isn't authoritative. It's everything that isn't coming from mainstream. And that's why the old clock may not have struck midnight on myself and Jimmy today, but it's coming. It's coming. It's inevitable. It's coming down the line. So it says, it comes after Facebook announced similar but more extensive measures banning all QAnon content outright. YouTube will instead focus on content that targets an individual or groups with conspiracy theories related to QAnon. It will begin enforcing these expanded hate and harassment policies immediately and would ramp up in the weeks to come. One example would be content that threatens or harasses somebody by suggesting they are complicit in one of these harmful conspiracies, such as QAnon, or go figure, there it is, Pizzagate. The company argued it had taken previous steps to limit such content, including limiting the reach of harmful misinformation through its recommendation list, but admitted there's even more that we can do to address certain conspiracy theories that are used to justify real-world violence, like QAnon. YouTube is the latest platform to crack down on QAnon content ahead of the November the 3rd presidential election. Facebook announced on the 6th of October it would ban all pages, groups and accounts related to the promotion of Q. Twitter in July announced a broad crackdown on Q content, kicking 7,000 QAnon accounts off the platform and promising to stop promoting or recommending QAnon. Twitter did not ban QAnon from its site entirely, but said it would no longer make QAnon tweets or accounts visible in searches or recommendations. So we've not banned you, we've just taken you out of the algorithm. You can post to your own feed. But both platforms will struggle to tamp down on the pervasive conspiracy theory. A report from the Associated Press found that, in recent weeks, content related to the mass delusion, still spreads. Delusion, my word. Spit out, Kev. Still spreads on the social media platform. And the AP discovered that more than a dozen popular QAnon accounts on Twitter that collectively maintain a following of nearly 1.5 million users, all of which were recommended to users who followed other QAnon accounts. Goes on to talk about what QAnon is. QAnon adherents believe that Donald Trump is trying to save the world from a cabal of satanic pedophiles that includes Democrats, Hollywood elites, and the deep state allies. The conspiracy theory narrative includes centuries-old anti-Semitic tropes, such as the belief that the cabal is harvesting blood from abused children. The mass delusion has been tied to a number of violent events. In 2016, a believer in QAnon, a QAnon-adjacent theory known as Pizzagate, travelled to Washington, D.C. and fired shots into a pizza restaurant he believed was housing a sex ring. Experts call these extreme, baseless claims an incitement to violence. The movement was named by the FBI as a potential instigator of domestic terrorism. I remember that shooting at the Pizzagate one, Jimmy. The old Comet ping pong. I think that was, for me, what solidified the fact that when we were handed this pizza shop in Washington, it truly was too good to be true. There was definitely interesting stuff that needed looking into in those emails. And people were starting to ask the right questions, right? And then all of a sudden you got the mainstream jumping on it and telling us about this creepy little shop in Washington, right enough. And then everyone started talking about Comet ping pong. And less people started to drill into the actual meat and potatoes of what was in the emails. And before we know it, the emails might as well have been forgotten about. And it was just that bloody shop that we were all told to look at. Everything going on in the dungeon there. And then information coming out that said shop doesn't have a dungeon. Not really a lot of what was alleged to be going on there. Never any victims came forward to say that they had escaped the dungeon at Pizza, Comet Ping Pong. And that, for me, 2016, dude. 2016 was back when we could see that we were going to have to be really careful with any story that we touched. Because there's so much information of varying degrees of veracity and nonsense, and people playing with us, people giving us fake stories, distracting us here, pointing us there, and all the while, you know what's belong all the same, Jimmy? The damn agenda, man. The damn agenda.
Well, that's right, and the, the script includes getting a bunch of grassrooters to do the legwork for free on a bunch of this stuff.
I like that, grassrooters. I like that.
Yeah, man.
People that root grass.
Because the thing about it is, hey, man, remember back to Jade Helm, Mastering the Human Domain? Well, Q is Jade Helm, too. Because the people that got caught up in that dragnet were all the people that were sending emails back and forth about Walmarts being FEMA camps and, Walmarts were underground, this and that. And maybe they are. I don't know. But the thing is that's the first round of Jade Helm. And then you've seen the whole Cass Sunstein thing that you and Scotty bring up. And Scotty, hammers the Cass Sunstein, and he should, because Cass Sunstein said he was going to go on the internet and infiltrate conspiracy theory sites because we were in the beginning of the alternative media exposing a lot of stuff. It did get out of control. They did lose control. The only way to gain control without turning the internet off was to flood the internet with a bunch of made up stories that nobody could prove. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, blah, 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 but I don't have any way to prove it, blah, 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 blah.
Can't say that, Jimmy. We done a brilliant show about a story we couldn't prove on Antarctica.
But it's a perfect example, though, right? Because the thing is like the information resonates with me, and it still does now. I went back.
Yeah, that was a good show, dude. That was a good show. I'm choking to get back into all that good woo, man.
Too, because, listen, why not? When I go to the library, I decide what book I'm going to read. Okay? We don't have to read. Listen, you know what's going to happen? Remember the guy remember the mob killing in New York City? And the guy got arrested, and he wrote on his hand in blue ink Q, and he held it up when he was sitting in the... Yeah, so, it was clear that what they were going to do is take that and turn that into the new conspiracy. Now they're not only is it bad to be a conspiracy theorist, but you're one of those Q people. Okay, so listen, I'm going to tell you something. The same people... Let me show you the demographic of who's awake and who isn't. Look at, and then when you go outside today or when you're out in public, look around and see how many people have masks on. The people that have masks on, we're going to think you're crazy if you say any of this stuff. The other people that don't have masks on, they're probably people that believe most of what we talk about here. And there's, plenty of it that's true. But the thing is it's the water. So the well has been poisoned by Cass Sunstein and his group. How much does it cost to fill a building, some nondescript building in the Silicon Valley with a bunch of temporary employees at $12 an hour, sitting on computers, flooding the internet with quote unquote content? Come on, man. It's out of control, isn't it? And now they've got everybody by the cojones because, all they have to say to you now, even when you're telling the truth, even when you're talking about things that matter, they're going to say, oh, you're one of those Q people. It's just like when they used to call you a conspiracy theorist when you thought something was wrong with the JFK assassination. And they nullified you and everything you had to think about it because, oh, you're just one of them conspiracy theorists. Now you're going to be one of those conspiracy theorists / Q people. Put into that. And then now what? Well, they just passed a bill here in America with a K. Land of the free, home of the slave. Passed a bill basically, outlining Q and conspiracy theories and saying there's something wrong with it. Now the red flag laws they passed, coming up into this last 2-3 years. Pass red flag laws that say you can go on the internet and post some stuff and they can decide something about you psychologically and do a red flag on you and say that you're somebody that, now that you're not just a subject, now you're a case. So I don't know, Kev, it's a dangerous, dangerous time to be on the internet, and especially coming into what's going on. I think there's distinctly, if you go and think about it, everybody that doesn't wear a mask, you got facial recognition when you didn't wear that mask. So they already know who everybody is who's not down with the sickness.
Yeah, right? That's one of the things I've been thinking about during this whole COVID thing, If you truly are of the belief that this was entirely the whole pandemic thing and everything else, then perhaps voicing your opinion about it right now wouldn't be a good thing, right? Because going along with that line of thinking, everything's been watched, which we know it is. That kind of thinking might include someday, being put into, call them quarantine centres, call them camps, I don't know. But yeah, I'm like you, Jimmy. It's to voice your angst to get it. And I get it, folks. It's not that I'm saying don't use your free speech. Don't be shouting at me. But the action of protesting, be it physically or digital kind of battlefield here, you've put yourself even more in their crosshairs. a set of crosshairs that you already thought was coming for you anyway.
Well, think about this. I mean, think about the operation down there in Austin, Texas. And you think about how that audience has grown and grown and grown and grown and grown. He's created a bunch of enemies of America, hasn't he? Everybody that goes over to Alex Jones's channel and went and watched went over to Prison Planet all these years. How many years has it been? All those people, man, that whole audience is created. Specifically, the apparatus is going to be turned around on that audience, and those people are going to be the enemy. And everybody else is going to be going, yeah, look at those crazy people over there. Those Q people, those Alex Jones listeners. You know what I mean?
I think maybe what people might be missing in America right now is stop bloody thinking sides. Stop bloody looking at the other side and saying the left. Stop looking at the other side and saying the right, because here's the news flash. You're all the enemies of what's coming to America. Nobody's on the right team. These are all being used to change into the thing that these are all fearing it's going to change into. And whether you're left or right, I hate to say it, but you are all in the same camp. You have something in common. The system's against you. And whether you take the right-hand path to get to where we're going or whether they take the left-hand path to wherever we're going, there's nobody on a good list. There's nobody going to get a pat on the back helping them to get to where they got. Whatever route they take, left, right, no election, down the middle, martial law. Jonesy doing it again today, talking about, callers calling in, roll out the military, get martial law on the go.
The thing is,
is there anyone out there that thinks if martial law is called, it's only going to be like people with colourful hair and confused about their genders that are going to be put into the camps? Is that really what you think? Think you're all going to be there clapping them in as the smell of soy goes past you? No, you'll be right in the same queue. Queue.
Yeah, that is the bottom line. Listen, they're stoking a civil war, and in this civil war, see, there's nobody in blue uniforms and gray uniforms. There's no way to tell who's who in this war. This was a war of ideology. This is a war that goes on inside of your mind. There's no outward expression of what you think or the philosophies that you follow or the political leanings that you have. Some people even going so far as saying if you're wearing a mask, you're on the left, and if you're not wearing one, you're on the right. Well, what if they make a mistake and shoot me because I just went into the store and I wore the mask so I could go get my groceries? The thing is that what's going on right now is an us and them situation. And ladies and gentlemen, this is serious business because, people tend to forget, man. I mean, they forget day to day. But, listen, man, this has been being done since MySpace days. Every comment you've ever made on the internet and every chat room everything you've ever said, every
porn site,
everything.
Oh, no.
Everything. So yeah,
who knew I was so interested in cougars?
I
know. You see, Jimmy, we've just got cat fascination, man.
I know. I just heard about a story where a dude was stalked by a cougar for 6 minutes straight. Literally on a hike, but this was
we're talking like an actual cougar. For 1 minute there, I thought, what, he lasted 6 minutes? That's willpower.
That cougar was about to strike. It was scary. It's a scary video, but anyway. Yeah. So no, I mean, the bottom line is, listen, I mean, these internet ghettos, these shoots, these filter bubbles, we're all in them, man. The only way to get away from it, there's only one way, and that is to get off the internet. And so that puts us right back to where we were again, because now we've all been digitized in the sense that we are our avatars on the internet at this point. Most, like we were saying, most of our friends and acquaintances and our interactions happen on the internet. If we're to actually turn it off, we'd be literally isolating ourselves even worse, because we're isolated now, but we got this fake window into this fake world where everybody talks about stuff and builds on this big storyline that never ends about the world's going to end, and the asteroids are coming in, Kev, and you better get your storable food, and don't forget to buy gold, because gold is really the only real money, Kev. It's, you go back and listen.
Right. I'll give people an idea, right, what you're talking about here and things. It's something we've spoke about before on the show, right? We've mentioned the sentient world simulation before, right? And we've been quite at the front of talking about that when we were working with Anthony Patch, and when we've been talking about, the new digital kind of virtual worlds that we're all moving into. I found this article the other day. It's from last year. Never heard it before, but this is from somebody called Daniel Fagella. And he happens to be the head of research at Emergy, wherever it is, but he's been called upon by the United Nations, the World Bank, and Interpol, and leading enterprises. Daniel is a globally sought-after expert on competitive strategy implications for AI for business and government, okay? It's not a long article. I'll come to after the break, but you'll want to hear this, folks. This takes things to a creepy level. We'll be right back. Hour number 2 on today's KEV Baker Show right here on TFRlive.com. No Scotty Lopez today, but I have got a very, very good replacement in Jimmy Jeans. He is here with me. I'll be on Freaky Friday tomorrow. Nacy, Kevin from Minnesota, he will be joining us. And then on Saturday, not sure of the time yet. I really should start checking into what time it is. I am going to be appearing as a guest on something called the Weaving Spiders podcast. Now, that's over on YouTube. And it's not just me. I'm part or one half of a double act. Yes, the guys over at the Weaving Spiders, they want to have KEV Baker and Ryan Gable together as one. So, yeah, it's going to be good fun over there. Not sure what time. I'll let you all know tomorrow. I'll definitely need to make a note of finding out the time. But we're going to get to the clip that Jimmy has talked about earlier on. But before we get there, I was talking about an article that I came across the other day when I was looking into some stuff. And I think it's worth going over. It's not that long. But we're talking about data, Jimmy talking about scraping data, digital profiles, all this kind of stuff. And this ties right in with it. Didn't know it would come up in conversation as soon, but I think this is relevant. And just take a listen to this. It says sentient world simulation and NSA surveillance. Exploiting privacy to predict the future. So like I say, this is written by Daniel Fagella. It says one of the major headlines in recent news is Edward Snowden's revelation that documents which prove that the US government is using high-tech software to gather massive amounts of private information on everyday Americans. Now, this comes from 2019. I know that says like recent news from Edward Snowden. Just so people, in case they thought it was older than what it is, that Snowden has taken bold action against the government in an effort to publicise the government's violation of constitutional rights and to inform the public as to which is done in their name and that which is done against them. Snowden has offered himself as the main proponent in this political debate by revealing himself as the source of covert documents which blatantly violate privacy rights. And so he has subsequently linked himself to a debate which will likely have personal ties for years to come. Snowden recognises the dangers he is incurring, but believes he has a greater duty to impede the government of destroying privacy, internet freedom, and basic liberties for people around the world. As one would presume, much speculation from both sides of the debate has followed this heavily disputed announcement. Snowden has asserted that the government is unlawfully collecting phone records and surveilling internet activities. Government officials have vigilantly denied these accusations. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Rogers spoke on the issue, saying he doesn't have a clue how this thing works. Neither did the person who released just enough information to literally be dangerous. I absolutely think the leaker should be prosecuted. Now, the press has also taken part in the debate, narrating the ongoing story, generally backing Snowden. After Snowden's release, The Guardian and Washington Post have released various articles on the matter, most of which distort the extent to which the government has manipulated private data. Now, amidst all the publicity surrounding the leaks, journalist Christopher Ketchum, who previously won acclaim by covering the tragic events on 9/11, released a relevant new article discussing the secretive exploits of a governmental unit which gathers boundless amounts of information on Americans. Ketchum details programs by the government designed to fight crime by predicting criminal behaviour before it is committed and to predict behavioural responses to propaganda and government-inflicted terror. Both programs rely on keeping tabs on citizens and gathering data by tracking phone calls, credit card receipts, social networks, GPS trackers, internet searches, Amazon purchases, and E to Z pass records. The program, based out of Purdue University's Synthetic Environment for Analysis and Simulation Laboratory, is titled the Sentient World Simulation. The simulator has taken the spying that Snowden publicized one step further. The program has amassed databases so profound that they can look so deep into a person's life that they can predict their thoughts and future actions with relative certainty. Although this system is incredibly intrusive and raises many moral concerns, it provides valuable insight into questions which could be extremely beneficial. It's unclear as to whether all the private sector efforts towards transparency, including some noteworthy AI projects at Microsoft, will have any effect on the direction and intensity of this public sector surveillance. Get this, Jimmy, by gathering enough intelligence, the Sentient World Simulation, just like Kevin Patch said all those years ago, is capable of producing realistic simulations of various different scenarios, such as natural disasters, foreign and domestic attacks, resource shortages, hazardous economic trends. And I would also add in there the influence that a social media post could have, the influence that a headline could have. Anything, any variable. How would people react to that? How about if we came up with a thing like jail Hillary? How would people respond to that? No, that doesn't work. How about Hillary for prison? People starting to get a bit more for that. You see how they pick everything out, folks. It says that the program, once finished, will utilize the information from its colossal database to create these hypothetical situations, predict possible outcomes, and test the effectiveness of various responses. Researchers hope the system will be able to provide effective answers to complex questions which baffle the most skilled thinkers and will create more efficient methods of responding to catastrophes. Now, even with the tremendous advantages that the SWS will offer, we must be wary that the NSA, a government program which is top secret and has access to an abundance of private information, does not abuse its authority and violate privacy acts with extracurricular motives. The program must be scrupulously overlooked so that it does not lead so that it does lead to other government programs and companies to believe that it is acceptable to disregard moral and ethical code in replacement for efficiency. In the midst of a technological wave, the inherent ability of humans to use gut feelings to make conscious decisions probably shouldn't be forgotten entirely. Technology and data can be valuable resources in calculating the risks and rewards of important decisions, but technology can replace human instinct. No technology can replace human instinct. While we previously conducted research on risks of artificial intelligence, the future may require a more robust assessment of how AI is used in the great trade-off of safety for privacy. So there you go, Jimmy, the Sentient World Simulation. Usually it's just people like me and Patch and others that talk about it. But here's a guy that's briefed Interpol. He's talked to the World Bank. He's been in about the United Nations. This guy knows probably what they've got if he's an AI expert working with all of those kind of groups, you know. He's probably seen the cutting edge policing algorithms, you know.
All right, well, let me throw a bone in that soup. Okay, so let's hear.
Every soup needs a bone, Jimmy. Every soup needs a bone.
Hear that. And let me just say, I'm going to demonstrate how this happens. So earlier today, I talked about how you read these thread titles, and you read hundreds of them, but you only click on very few, right? So I'm going to demonstrate to y'all exactly what I was talking about. So I clicked on something, and it actually ties exactly into what you just put forward right there. So let's put this forward. Now, I'm going to put it forward with the caveat that I have not vetted this information, but I'm going to read it out loud, and you guys take it for what it's worth. Like Kev says, we provide, you decide. So I clicked on it because the title was A Simulated Reality. I clicked on it. DARPA, European Human Brain Project, and the Pentagon. Advisor James Giordano describes neuro-nanorobotic brain-to-computer interface mind control weapons for remote monitoring and manipulation of brain neural circuitry. This allows individuals' consciousnesses to be cloned onto their very own digital avatar in the sentient world. Simulation on a supercomputer, a direct link between a targeted individual and their digital avatar exists, so that everything done in the real world occurs in the computer simulation by manipulating the digital avatar in the computer simulation. A person's thoughts, beliefs, perceptions, and behaviors are manipulated in the real world. This is a remote mind control 21st century MK Ultra. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not a joke. That was the thread that I clicked on. Pretty interesting, I would say.
You sent me that the other day, right? And I went and looked into that. And the only thing that the only problem I've got with that piece of information is that it sources nothing. It sources nothing, which is it's typical for a forum post. And when I Googled the actual guy, the doctor involved and everything else, the only thing I could find with him in it was pretty much that article.
That's scary because just reading it makes the hair on the back of my back stand up, even though I don't have much. I got peach fuzz.
That's one of my checklists, Jimmy. Where's the external link to see where these are coming from, right?
If I was to try to vet this, the thing that I would do is the two things I would look at straight away would be the thing called European Human Brain Project, and second,
which is absolutely a thing.
Okay, and then the second thing is this thing. This word right here interests me really a lot. I haven't looked into it, but neuroanorobotic brain to computer interface, which would mean if there is something that exists, this would be something.
Remember your friend Charles Lieber from Harvard?
Exactly, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So just because we don't see anything on the internet doesn't mean it's not real. As a matter of fact, if I was gonna lean one way or the other because there wasn't anything, I'd start thinking maybe this guy was up to something, because I was just scared even reading.
This is a perfect example of what happens on the internet. Is it not? Because we can prove that there's a sentient world simulation, and then the things that myself and Patch have said, the things that this character, whoever wrote that article, said, everything else just gets built upon an initial kernel of truth.
Exactly.
The only thing, out of everything I've ever said about the SWS, out of whatever other people have said, unless they can show you, like, physically where they're getting their information from, then in the end of the day, all we really know is they've got something called the sentient world simulation, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, well, I think, you also have this idea of, there's this new gel that's coming out that can be injected into the skin that transmits data back to a cell phone or a device. So when you start thinking, and this is just like a gel, you don't need a brain driller, to drill through your skull and put something in there. This is just a gel that you inject. So, I know that, right? So this is why this information here interested me, because I'm always interested in the simulated reality. And remember back a ways back, like a year or two, there was this period of time where the big buzzword was NPC. And people were relating it to the video game of a, non-playing character. But really what NPCs really were, they weren't non-participating characters. What they were non-participants in the LARP. They weren't in the LARP. That's what was going on there. So there's a distinct separation. There's a Y in the road between reality, fantasy, and facts. And so there's such a diverse scope of whatever it is that you want to get yourself into, that you can just fall into these filter bubbles where everybody believes the same thing that you do. There's never any outside information to contradict anything that you're hearing. You're all in there singing the same song, marching right over the cliff, because you don't even have an understanding of any of this information, because your understanding is based on a limited band of information that's shaded and sending you in a certain direction based on who you are, what you do, what you say, where you go on the internet.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Jimmy. Just try to find something here. Yeah, we'll take a listen to this one before we go to the break, and we'll get your one when we come back after the break. So this is, we were talking about social media the other day. I said I'd seen a video where one of the guys who put together social media was talking about how addictive it is, what they do with it. I'm going to play a couple of minutes of this. Russia Today covered it. You're going to like this, Jimmy, if you haven't heard it already. This is, take a listen to this.
Welcome to Sophie Co-Visionaries, me, Sophie Shepard-Natze. Social media once created to bring million people together. Now, to control what we think and how we live without us even knowing it. I'm joined today by Tim Kendall, former Facebook Director of Monetization, ex-president of Pinterest, and the CEO of Moment App. Tim Kendall, former Facebook Director of Monetization, former president of Pinterest, and the CEO of Moment App. Great to have you with us. I mean, I have so many questions for you. Where do we start? All right, so obviously during this pandemic, right, our screen time on social media is way up. I mean, do you think that this increase in usage will be permanent, or are we going to sort of wean off once we're allowed to freely roam again?
It's hard to predict the future. I mean, I think that we've seen a surge during the quarantine, during this pandemic, because people don't have alternatives, right? They don't leave their houses often. They're clearly not nearly as social as they used to be. And by social, I mean physically social, like going over to each other's houses or meeting up places. So I guess I'm optimistic that I think that it will reduce to some degree once we get through the craziness of quarantining.
So this year's Social Dilemma documentary, which is dedicated to the threat that is social media, says that internet companies are using technology to compete for our attention, which they then sell to advertisers. But here's a question from someone that has worked on television for most of her life. Hasn't TV been doing the same thing for decades now? I mean, we've heard the same arguments against TV. It's brainwashing, it's manipulating, break it, throw it out. Isn't social media just new sort of TV?
Yeah, I think it's a question. There are a couple things that I'd say. One is that TV's just not as good at being as addictive as social media, and that's for a couple reasons. One is it's not interactive, and two is it's not personalized to us, right? The content that I see on TV is not about my social world. It doesn't reflect my popularity and my standing. It doesn't allow me to compare myself to other friends or colleagues in the way that social media does. So social media really allows me, it really preys on a bunch of things in kind of my animal brain that really get me addicted. For just hard data, in the 50s, people watched about 4 hours of TV a day. And now that stat on average, at least in the United States, is about the same. It's about 4 hours. Just to show the difference with social media, in 2010, people spent 12 and a half minutes per day on social media. And today they spend 2.5 hours per day. And so it's gone up 10 times in 10 years per person. Well, the number of people using social media has grown from about 500 million to 3 billion people. So it's explosive in that sense, and it's addictive. And the data, the mental health data on TV just looks very different than social media, just in terms of the impact that social media usage has on my mental well-being. We know that it makes me depressed, and we know that it makes me anxious.
You're saying the average number is 2.5 hours. I wish it was that low in my case. Actually, it's much more than that. I was like, 2.5 hours. Wow. That's nothing compared to what happens to me. No, but we agree, right? That this sort of a concept of catching my attention and keeping it by manipulating is really an old concept, an old threat, but really on steroids. It's sort of, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that, probably artificial intelligence. In fact, it's already doing this with Netflix. Netflix, not only are their recommendations powered by artificial intelligence, but some of the programming, some of the show development and creation is now being powered by data that they have about how you and I watch their shows and what appeals to us. And so I think it's kind of a matter of time before traditional television starts becoming so personalized that it starts to suck our attention in those sorts of ways. I think traditional TV just isn't nearly as good as social media is at kind of stealing our attention.
You mentioned before we started this interview about America being polarized like never before. And I said, well, the world is polarized, not only America. But here's the thing. You also said the political consequences of social media are scary, that the way this goes now could lead to a civil war. But once again, I'm going to bring up the traditional media. Fox News has been around since 1996, and there was no Facebook or YouTube, and the media was already polarizing the landscape because, flashy things sells in the media. More blood, more ratings, and moderate objectivity, they just don't interest people, that they don't bring ratings. So why are we saying that tech companies need to change, but we're okay with Fox and MSNBC destroying journalism in America and completely polarizing the country as well?
Yeah. I think that the beginning of all of this was cable TV. It was in 1996 when Fox and CNN and MSNBC started fracturing us into different groups that had a different set of facts. I think what we're saying is that social media is just that on steroids, because instead of there being 3 versions of the truth in the United States, there are 100 million versions of the truth. I mean, you see this even on the left or on the right, which is that Republicans can't even align, and neither can Democrats, right? They're completely fractured. And part of the reason that they're fractured is that the fact set, there is not, and they talk about this in the film, there's no concept anymore of truth. There's no concept of shared truth. But I blame cable TV for starting this whole thing in terms of polarization. So I think you're right that is a problem social media, by virtue of the technology and the ability to create your own CNN, right? Your personal news network, makes it even worse.
I'm trying to pinpoint something here. Help me out, because I'm talking about whether we should be targeting, in this case, the huge tech giants, or something more narrow and particular. For instance, we've heard accusations Facebook fomented offline ethnic cleansing in Myanmar.
Hold that thought. We will be right back. Final segment of the final KEV Baker Show of the week right here on tfrlive.com. I'll be back next week with more shows. Don't panic, and I'll be back tomorrow night with Freaky Friday. I've got Jimmy Jeans here with me right now. We're going to play maybe another couple of minutes of this clip about social media, because it's really getting to the point that's relevant for everything that's going on today. And it was talking about how it was the ex-head of monetization on Facebook talking about how there is no truth when it comes to social media, because whatever you believe is true, that algorithm is going to support you all the way. And with over 3 billion different people using social media, that's 3 billion people that are all right. How can 3 billion people all be right? But that's the way social media works, and they can't tell you that you're wrong. The algorithm isn't going to put information in front of you that makes whatever you're looking into, makes you feel stupid, or give you something that totally kills what you're looking into. You wouldn't go back to that website, would you? That's why no matter what it is that you're looking for, there's going to be something there to support it. You're going to find people like you that think the same way, believe the same things. And that's how you can have 3 billion different realities that are absolutely true to the people that are experiencing them, the individual. But what is actual reality? What is the real world? I tell you, it's getting confusing now. Here we go. We'll get back into it.
Like an old-fashioned radio program has fomented as much graver genocide in Rwanda, for instance. And we see broadcasters being held responsible, not the radio technology. What is the argument for treating the tech companies of today differently? Do you know what I mean?
Well, the argument in the United States, and I testified in front of Congress about this very issue. The argument in the United States is back in 1996, around the same time, coincidentally, that cable was, fracturing us. There's a law called Section 230. And what it does is it allows these tech companies to propagate and publish any content they want.
Now, get ready for a lot of talk at 2:30 in the coming days with everything that's going on YouTube and social media right now. That's going to be the huge talking point. I'm just going to fast forward it a little bit.
Amend 230, because you're right. News organizations are liable. If you say something that's, as you know, liable, factually incorrect, etc., you have a liability. You are held accountable. That if anyone can say anything and anyone can propagate anything that's popular and inflammatory, we can create some really serious societal problems.
Here's that question turned from the other side. For instance, the co-creator of the Facebook like button tells us in the film that his team just wanted to create something that will be good, that would will foster goodwill, enable people to reassure each other. And obviously, he didn't expect teenage depression or the like addiction to come out of it, right? But addiction is being liked one way or another. And once again, nothing to do with Instagram. It's human nature, right? So I'm just wondering, are we sort of scapegoating the big tech because we're just too embarrassed to admit that our behavior is ugly at times? Or we're just blaming our ages-old vanity on Facebook?
Yeah. I think that's a good point. I mean, my takeaway from the film is twofold. One is that, maybe threefold. The companies need to take more responsibility and accountability. The governments may need to step in if they don't do that swiftly enough. And we as individuals are responsible too. We are making choices that are not in our best interests. And we've lost control of our phones. And for a number of the reasons that you mentioned, right? We've lost control of our phones because we've let them prey on our vanity, our need to be right, our need for recognition, our need for other people to inflate our reputation. All of these things are sort of human tendencies that on social media get really tapped into. And we have personal responsibility to make, I think, different choices if we conclude that these things have taken over our lives. In the same way that I have a responsibility, if I drink too much, to figure out a path to get that back in control because I don't like the consequences it's creating in my life. I think the same is true of cigarettes. The same is true of eating too much sugar. So I agree with you. I think it's silly. And I don't agree with people who just say, look, it's not my fault. It's social media companies. They're the ones who are making me pick this thing up.
So talking about cigarettes, you were Facebook's head of monetization, and you've admitted in the documentary that you helped make Facebook as addictive as cigarettes. That's your quote. So I was just wondering, is it a figure of speech, or are these two addictions indeed driven?
Listen to this bit, then we'll get your thoughts, Jimmy, and then we'll move on to the clip you've got, right? This last bit here.
By same processes in the brain?
The point that I was trying to make is just that there's a threshold at which big tobacco realized what they were doing and that they continued to do it. They continued to put more and more things into cigarettes that made them more addictive and made me want to smoke more of them. And the point that I'm trying to make is that social media, and in particular these artificially intelligent algorithms, are doing the same thing. They are moving along looking for new additives to inject into social media so that you and I want to use it more. Because the algorithm's being told, get more of Tim's attention tomorrow. And then it goes off and it thinks, okay, how can we do that? He spent 2.5 hours on it yesterday. How can we get him to spend 3 hours on it today? And so the point that I was making was that these algorithms are going off and finding new additives like cigarette companies used to do, right? It started with, if we rewind 10 years ago, it started with, as I said earlier, popularity and comparison. And now we're in a different realm of misinformation, conspiracy theory, polarized content, right? We're stepping up the ladder of things that really trigger and engage the most primal part of my brain so that I spend more time and I'm more engaged.
Tim, we're going to take a short break right now. When we're back.
There you go, Jimmy. So as the years have gone on, the amount of time people spend on social media has gone up, and the algorithms have increased the ways in which it can capture our attention. And it learns the colors we like, it learns the people we like, it'll put anything there to keep you there, tag you in a photo, whatever it is, right? And you look at the real world over the past same window of time, Jimmy, the past 10 years. We talk about 2020 being almost like the icing on the crazy cake, right? What a year 2020 is. Damn, didn't have that in my bingo card. Is every year going to get increasingly more bizarre if we continue to increasingly spend time in the virtual, social, anti-social media realm? Is it going to keep translating over into the real world as cray-cray madness? You're muted up, dude.
Geez, sorry. My mouse is going. I got crazy mouse. Yeah, it's only going to get worse from here because, I mean, you know, the obvious, there were some documents leaked from Canada yesterday about what their plan is for the next, 6 months or so. So it's clear that there's going to be measures, coming up, and people are going to be spending more time at the house. So the virtual reality, I mean, yeah, you can put on the...
there you go.
That's right. You can put on the goggles or whatever. But really, when you're, I'm staring into a 27-inch screen right now, man. It's about as virtual a reality as there can be. And I want to point something out, ladies and gentlemen. This goes back way before there was CNN. There has never been any media in the history of mankind, none, not one thing that's ever been that wasn't advertising. Period. It's been marketing the whole time. Everything's marketing. Everything's marketing, period. Why did you hear about certain books? Why did you go to certain websites? It's all marketing. It's all under the guise of marketing, but the reality of what it is the behavior modification complex, the most dangerous of all the complexes, because the behavior modification complex is the technology that controls everything else. So Jaron Lanier, like I said, he is he is one of the OGs of the Silicon Valley. I wouldn't be surprised if you would see him at a Burning Man. I mean, the dude's got dreads literally down to his knees. He plays ancient instruments. He's an advocate for our rights, and he's been blowing the whistle on what's been going on in the social media and everything else way before any of these guys came out blowing whistles. This guy was explaining it from nuts and bolts, and the New York Times now has latched onto him, and that's what we got going on here. So there's two pieces. There's the front end describing exactly what's going on, and then there's the back end where he actually has a solution. It's called Jaron Lanier Fixes the Internet. And if you listen to his solutions, I think you'll agree, and we can go out on a positive, man, because it's a great presentation.
What is data?
Yes. What is data? Imagine two of your old college friends just had a baby. They post a selfie, and of course it's adorable, and of course you like it. But soon, you notice that your news feed starts to change. You see promotions for a baby sling that would be perfect for new parents, and it's even got a logo of your old college. And look, there's a discount. So, you buy it. You've got a gift for your friends. A store's made a sale. And somewhere, there's a giant tech company that just earned a little commission on the whole thing. An incredible cloud of transactions like this is the value that makes the digital economy as it is today. I'm here to tell you that you're being shortchanged.
The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less traveled.
I came up with a few crazy scenes in Minority Report. The one where our hero is trying to run away from the police, but he's being grabbed by each billboard into advertising so they can see where he is. It was supposed to be cautionary, but instead people just think it looks cool. And in Silicon Valley, to this day, decades later, people say, oh, that new thing you're designing, it looks like it came out of Minority Report. That's so cool. And I'm like, oh, God, like, what does it take? What does it take for people to recognize a dystopia? I kind of feel like it backfired. What has happened is heartbreaking. The whole world has become darker. The way humans respond the most intensely is with fear or anger. People who are afraid, people who are angry, they pay attention. We've created a whole civilization based on tricking each other. Let me show you what I mean. In order to sell you that baby sling, a social media company used data. They know a world of things about you and your friends, the least of which are that your friends just had a baby, that you all went to the same college. But there's even more. The algorithms that run the whole thing, they're always adjusting, doing little micro experiments to try to find that little variation that'll keep you clicking, that'll get you to click on buy. You don't just see your own friends, you see these other people who are selected because the algorithm thinks they'll get you. They might look a little richer, a little thinner, a little cuter, something like that. The algorithm doesn't even know. It just knows that these images get you. Even in this video right now, there are algorithms snatching your data with a plan to trick you in the future. So look, here's the thing. This whole shadow economy that runs our world now and concentrates all the wealth and reduces your future would not be possible without the data that's coming from you and your friends. You are the fuel for it. You're giving away all your data for free. You don't know what data has been taken from you. You don't know how it's ultimately used. You don't have any opportunity to take pride in it. You don't have any opportunity to make it better. To you, it's a mystery, so you pretend it's nothing, but it isn't nothing. When you realize that data is the new oil, when you realize that this thing being taken from you that you don't think about is the future economic value, is your future value. It's your future economic power.
The biggest internet IPO ever.
Values the company at more than $31 billion. Multi-billionaire today.
All of a sudden, I hope you can see you're giving away everything in exchange for almost nothing. We need to affirmatively, positively invent a different system that doesn't screw everybody up in the first place. And you know what? I think we have a solution. I think we have charted a way out of this mess. And I really can't wait to tell you about it. We made a very particular and gargantuan mistake around the turn of the century.
10, 9.
We had these two incredible drives.
Happy 2000!
One was everything should be free. No more paying for music or newspapers. Everything should be owned by the people, shared by the people. But we loved tech entrepreneurs. We loved Steve Jobs, the hero hacker who became a millionaire and a billionaire. So how do you combine, I'm going to make a Venn diagram with my fingers, socialism, everything must be free, capitalism, we have to have tech heroes. There's one little space in the middle, and that little space, you know, the advertising model started out really cute, but the computers got more and more powerful. The algorithms got more sophisticated. Everything built up until it turned into this crazy behavioral manipulation scheme.
So how do we fix this?
Well, before we fix it, Jimmy, I think you would agree with me. It didn't turn into something. That makes it sound like it was an accident that it turned out the way that it did. I think it was meant to, you know, as the technology advanced, I think it's exactly the animal that it was always meant to be, isn't it?
I think so. You know,
great video, man. I'm looking forward to hearing what this guy's route out of this hell is.
It's killer. Listen, I wanted to point everybody's attention to some words that he used. He said when Tom Cruise was walking in Minority Report, he said he was grabbed, which means he was identified, facially recognized, and then he was grabbed into advertising. So grabbing and sucking you into advertising is what facial recognition is going to turn into in the very near-term future. This is great. The rest of this is excellent.
You know, I'd say it's probably even gone beyond that already, Jimmy, when you've got Nano brought up a show called Next. He had the AI in that, totally put together the trailer, the storyline. But what they actually done as well was they analysed, like, facial expressions of people when they're watching specific scenes, specific colours. So we're getting down to that level now where they're looking at our micro expressions, seeing what we like, and then tailoring the content, be it the colour, the font, anything, to more tune into what it is that'll get us. Like they keep, it gets you, it catches you, you know?
Grabs you into
you. Yep, it knows how to grab that attention. It seduces you in, Jimmy.
That's what a troll is. See, people don't realize. When you say the word troll, you think of like the dude under the bridge. But that's not
like I stopped. That's why I stopped interacting with them, because they've caught you if you start playing with them. They've grabbed you, man.
When you troll, it's like you're trolling for.
We need to say, we're not going to have enough time, dude. Here we go.
The simplest way to get this idea is you'll get paid for your data, and more than you think. Plus, you'll pay for services that are free now, but in the balance, you'll do better. My colleague Glenn Weil and I are charting out how to make a better future, how to make a future where people feel their value, earn their value, and have dignity. All right, what's our banner? What do we call this thing?
KEV Baker Show.
We call this body of ideas data dignity.
Dang, not quite.
You should have the moral rights to every bit of data that exists because you exist, now and forever. In a dignified data future, when your friends have that baby, they might still post about it, but they're going to potentially make money from that data. They'll be able to understand, decide, and earn if they want to, and you'll be able to as well. Let's say you do buy a baby sling. Your data might have been used to help promote that thing to you. In a dignified data future, you're going to get paid, and you're going to get a royalty over time as that system is used.
Okay, so how does this work?
We'll have to invent a lot of things. So we need to keep track of where somebody's data ends up. We need to have a universal way of people getting paid and paying, and it's all totally doable. We have to invent a new kind of entity. That is an entity that would look out for your interests, would deal with all the technical and complicated stuff for you that you would be able to trust by law. So this new kind of mediator is called a MID. It stands for Mediator of Individual Data. A MID is an organization that's bigger than an individual but smaller than a whole nation. A MID is a little like a labor union where they're still enjoying some strength in numbers. Some MIDs will be easy to get into. There'll be tens of millions of people in them for certain kinds of sort of ordinary data, let's say. There'll be other MIDs that'll be hard to get into. Every MID will set its own terms. Millions of people will join the same MID. It'll be like getting car insurance or something that's very routine. Some MIDs might pay you incrementally in little micropayments. Others might pay you every month or every year or average it out over a year, so it's really predictable. And that means you're not just going to earn in the moment, but you'll build up a stream of income from your data that will become like a pension in a new world. That's actually a compelling world. It's a world that can exist. When people hear about these ideas of data dignity, they often push back. It doesn't sound possible. It sounds weird. Well, I'm going to answer all of those concerns.
4 criticisms of data dignity. My data earnings will be too small to be worth it.
Not true. The whole world of Silicon Valley is powered by your data. These are trillion-dollar companies, and the value comes from your data. It's absurd to say it's not worth anything. It's absurd to say that you wouldn't make any money from it if you could. We make an estimate that a small family could, in the very near term, earn something like $20,000 a year from the value of their data.
People will never pay for Facebook.
People used to think that paying for video would be horrible, and then Netflix happened and we got peak TV. Like, when you pay for stuff, it gets better.
Poor people will be priced out of the internet.
The public library gave everyone access to printed literature. So if that creative solution was available before the internet, I'm absolutely convinced that we can rise to the occasion to come up with new solutions that are at least that good. It would benefit everybody ultimately, but would also guarantee that nobody was left out.
The tech giants will never go for this.
We might see an absolute decrease in the relative dominance of the tech companies, but the overall economy will grow so much that the tech companies will grow more than they would have otherwise. Because using your own data against you will cost money, any company that wants to will be dissuaded from doing that. Instead, they'll have to come up with productive, creative things to do where they add value and people want to pay for that value. Value, yes. Manipulation, no. That is a dignified future. In a world where the manipulation machine is shut down, there will still be people who are paranoid. There will still be conspiracy theories. But there will not be a commercial incentive to incite these constantly, all the time, 24 hours a day. Our downward spiral, we can stop it simply by stopping the amplification of it. That is the way you make a working democracy. That's the way you make a humane culture.
And we're almost out of time there. We're almost out of time, Jimmy. It's been a blast. Our good friend Jason, he was saying, you know, hopefully after what's happened today, we'll get some regulation, something happening. I hate to be a pessimist, but I remember Scotty Lopez, and I heard you talking about this on your show the other day, telling us all about LifeLog closing one day in the Pentagon and Facebook popping up the same day in that dorm room. DARPA, Google, you can't separate the two. The connections are there. We think it's getting hellish and bad on the internet because we think it's for us. It's the way it was always meant to be, and now we're just finding out. We'll be back tomorrow, Freaky Friday, wherever you are. Make a TFR, didn't touch that dial.
My name's Jimmy.
not trying to go against it. Actually, I'm going with you. Gotta get up out of here and you ain't leaving me behind. I know you won't, cause we share common interest. You need me, there ain't no leaving me behind. Never know, no, just one out of here, yeah. Once I'm gone, ain't no going back. If you want, we could be the runaways, running from, and inside of love, yeah, yeah. Desperado, sitting in a old Monte Carlo. We both had a hot spoke, take it easy. I'm not trying to go against it. I can be at home with you. Gotta get up out of here, you wanna leave me behind. I know you won't, cause we share common interest. You need me, there ain't no leaving me behind. Never know, no, both one out of here, yeah. Once big gone, ain't no going back. If you want, we could be.
Oh, yeah. All right, stand by. I'm coming in.
Welcome to the Quaker Breakfast.
I just have to finish this up. I got one more song to play, then I'll be done with that. And then I got something special for you. You guys were talking about it earlier, so I'm gonna bring it. I'm about to bring it. Hold on. All right, I'm gonna bring this just for a second before I get caught. YouTube don't like it when I play this song. That's Rihanna. Yeah, that's Rihanna. Just stand by. I'm gonna bring something. Stand by.
Baby, this is what you came for. Lightning strikes every time she moves, and everybody's watching her, but she's looking at you.
I gotta stop that right there. Hopefully I didn't get caught. Let me go back to my YouTube channel. Make sure. My name's Jimmy. Hey, what are you guys doing? It's Sunday. Playing the band KEV Baker episode. Playing it over here on my channel. Because I don't think we're gonna get any problems with it. So that we're gonna see. I mean, if we get any problems with it at this point, it's because I didn't, because I played that music. Other than that, there's not going to be any problems. But if this video gets banned or whatever, that's why. It's because the music part has nothing to do with the other stuff. But stand by, because I think I lost I still see my chat.
They see you as the...
I still see my chat, but I can't see my YouTube. And I don't know if I'm put on warning. So if I'm on warning... and I keep doing it, they'll X out my channel just like they did on my other channel. So let me just go over here. Looks like I'm still green, and that's good. All right, we're green now. As an extra, uh-oh, that was bad. I just missed the commercial that was on that channel. Hopefully I don't get nailed for that. That's the kind of shit they'll nail me for. Hold on. It's already too late. See, I wasn't paying attention, and I got hosed. That's how my channel got hosed the last time over on my other channel. Because we were doing reverse speech, and we played commercials. and the commercials had reverse speech in them, so we had to play them forwards and backwards. So we played them. We played them forwards and backwards, and when we played them, the YouTube hit us and said we were playing commercials on there, which is always a tasty treat to find out when you come back to your channel and you find out you're gone. But, you know, hey, man, I never complain. You know, if I mess up and I do something I'm not supposed to do, oh, well. You know, I mean, that's what happens. I found out the hard way, and that's mostly how you find out, because you don't read all the rules. All right, so there's a concept called organic robotoids. Okay, we've talked about it before, and I'm going to give you some audio from the organic robotoid collection over here at Into the Microcosm. It's in the special Robotoid archives. But before that, let's hear some aura.
We basically show up in two different arenas. We have the medical device arena that utilizes the product for validation and origination. So they'd use a product like ours to be able to tighten their parameters and produce based on a validation against an actual, tissue simulant. So this type of validation was previously done often with animal tissues. They would take, porcine tissue and do a test mechanically for the nature of the way that the device interacts with it. So we have the whole field of medical device where we have products from laminated tissues like skin, skin, fat, muscle, fascia planes, muscular bodies, and luminal structures like vessels, and those can be used to validate the devices. The other part of the business is actually the simulation side, which is where we produce these devices to be able to be used in medical education, and they can be used from anything as simple as just kind of the patient placement side, where you would want to know how to position the body itself, what to do, where it needs to go, how to access it, which is just like the initial thing early stage students in medical programs or emergency programs, nursing programs, tech programs, anything where they're going to do patient interaction and patient procedures, as far or as deep of a scope of knowledge as neurosurgery, things where you have complex neurovascular structures you would be trying to approach surgically with microsurgical tools or a microsurgical robot. So in this case, the product itself is actually a full-fledged simulator for just about everything you would want to do medically.
In Russia as well as in the West, research has been underway for many years in biological synthesis. That is, artificial life forms. And according to High Intelligence, a stunning breakthrough took place in Russia some years ago. The Russians refer to this breakthrough as a providential discovery, something they learned almost by accident. They discovered the key to creating what are known as organic robotoids. An organic robotoid is an artificial robot-like creature. It looks and acts exactly like a human being, and yet it is not human. A robotoid is alive in the biological sense, but it is an artificial life form. Robotoids respond to conventional routine medical tests in the same way as humans do. They eat, they drink, they breathe, they bleed if cut, and they can be killed. Robotoids can also think, but they think only in the sense that a computer thinks. Like any other computer, the brain of a robotoid has to be programmed for each assignment it is given.
Do you like talking with me?
Yes, talking to people is my primary function.
But unlike many electronic computers, the biological computer brain of a robotoid possesses an enormous memory. As a result, robotoids can be programmed to communicate and think in such complex patterns that they act human.
Hello.
Hiroshi Ishiguro has invented the world's most lifelike android.
My goal is to understand what is a human, so that is the reason why I'm building a very human-like robot.
He calls his invention a Geminoid, after the Latin word for twin. She can smile, blink, nod, even talk.
Organic robotoids are remarkable creatures, but they have many drawbacks. They don't grow or reproduce, but must be manufactured one by one in the desired form. They also have a very limited lifespan, measured in months or even weeks, depending upon how they are utilized. This is due to the fact that their metabolism, while it resembles that of humans, is very inefficient. A robotoid can be manufactured on very short notice, a matter of hours. But after a few weeks or months, it suddenly begins to degenerate physically and mentally. When that takes place, the robotoid has to be removed from service and disposed of. To extend its useful life as much as possible, a robotoid is customarily cooled down to slow its metabolism between assignments. Organic robotoids are extremely expensive, troublesome creatures to produce and utilize. And robotoid capabilities do not exceed those of human beings. All they can really do is simulate human beings. But, my friends, for intelligence purposes, that's all they have to do.
So what is your name?
My name is Sally. What's your name?
How old are you? My name is Dion.
Closer to humans than ever before.
Oh, wow. How old are you?
377 days.
Just 377. What's your name?
My name is Sally. What's your name?
How old are you?
To produce an organic robotoid, it is necessary to have a pattern to go by. The pattern required is that of genetic coding, taken from a few cells from the body of a human being. In this respect, the Russian technique sounds like cloning, but the technique itself is totally unrelated to genuine cloning. A robotoid is produced within a matter of hours, and it simulates the human donor at his current age. Like any man-made copy of anything, a robotoid is never a perfect copy of the human that is to be simulated. There's always small discrepancies in appearance and behavior. It's an artificial life form, like an animal in some ways, but like a computerized machine in others. Every Russian robotoid has what is called a holographic brain. This brain duplicates essentially the entire memory of a person being copied. The key to doing this is a new technique called an ultrasonic cerebral hologram. Using high-frequency sound waves, which are inaudible, a complete three-dimensional picture is made of a person's brain. This is a painless, non-destructive process, and under the proper conditions, it can be done without the person even being aware of it. Last month, I revealed that the Russians are using Nelson Rockefeller's hit list to weed out Bolsheviks here in America. And for roughly 3 years, they have been preparing for this day. They have been secretly making cerebral holograms of the people on the list at every opportunity. This has been done to every person on Rockefeller's list who has visited Russia or Eastern Europe in the past 3 years. When an organic robotoid is made to simulate, for example, our late President Jimmy Carter, two major factors are involved. One is the genetic coding required to simulate Carter's appearance, voice, fingerprints, and so on. The other is a holographic image of Carter's brain. This image is a complete record of the neuron patterns which existed in Carter's brain at the moment the hologram was made. Therefore, it contains all of the memory and knowledge Carter had up to that moment. When a Carter robotoid is made, the biological computer in its head is caused to form according to the holographic record of Carter's brain. However, certain portions of the robotoid computer are caused to deviate from the holographic record. The end result is a biological computer which has to be programmed, but which contains essentially all of Carter's memory, involuntary mannerisms, and the like. As a result, a Carter robotoid will automatically do certain kinds of things without the need for specific programming. For example, a Carter robotoid will seem to recognize old friends. That's because the computer memory of the robotoid reproduces Carter's memory of that friend. The holographic process puts it there automatically without the Russian programmers even having to know it's there. Organic robotoids are such amazing creatures that they are still a subject of questioning and debate. This is true even among the Russian scientists who made them a reality. For example, robotoids seem to have no true instinct for self-preservation. In this regard, they act like machines, simply doing as they are told to do. By contrast, both humans and animals generally have the instinct for self-preservation. Robotoids can be programmed for self-preservation, but they are equally willing, if willing is the word, to perform suicide missions. Exploratory one-way trips into space are only one example of this. If a space mission looks too dangerous to risk the life of an experienced cosmonaut, a robotoid can now be used. The robotoid copy of the cosmonaut is already trained the moment it's made, thanks to its holographic memory. Organic robotoids look and act so much like human beings that it's hard for us to get used to the idea that they are not human.
Later, the President was driven into Camp David, and Mrs. Carter was rushed there from the finish line. But 2 hours later, saying he had had to be dragged off the course, the President showed up to present the trophy to race winner Herb Lindsay.
The first was Geminoid Ishiguro. Yes, the scientist made his own mirror image.
1, 2, 3, robot.
It's a twin brother or something. He is not myself. It's a different person.
Close your eyes.
Celebrity scenarios may not.
Oh, crown of the light.
yourself, you're ugly. When you touch yourself, you're hot. I'm getting old. I'm getting fat. And I don't believe in God.
All right, stand by.
My mother is dead. My father is dead. I'm gay.
Stand by.
I'd like to be a poet. This is my house.
So what I'm gonna do? Hang on. This video. Hold on. This video is almost over. So let me play this here. I'm gonna show you guys another. I'm gonna get to this one video with Jack Black, okay? And I'm gonna get to some Eminem, but I'm gonna play this other video because I gotta go load groceries up from the street. So I'm gonna play this. Stand by. I'm gonna play this and then I'm gonna load them groceries and I'll be back. So stand by. Check this out. This goes with what we're talking about. Bam. All right. Let's do it. I'll put the list of these channels. Oh fuck. I did it in the wrong spot. Hang on. I'll put the list of these channels after the show so you can hang on. What the fuck's going on around here? Hang on. Sorry, you guys. I got all flustered because I didn't hear the phone ring. And so I was going to meet the groceries down there before. Oh, Jesus. Hang on a second. Hold on. Alright, I got it. Stand by. It's just that I got this video set up here, so I don't want to have to dick with the screens. Stand by. Alright, here it comes.
Scenario. Yet there's evidence to back up the theories. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 celebrity suicide conspiracy theories. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at the most popular conspiracies about alleged celebrity suicides.
Like if you were to line up anybody in the room, he would be one of the last guys in the world you'd ever see something like this coming out of Chris Benoit.
Number 10, the Illuminati killed Robin Williams.
The breaking news just into CNN is that actor Robin Williams is dead at the age of 63 from an apparent suicide.
Throughout his 63 years, Robin Williams' unpredictability led to success in both comedic and dramatic productions.
You know, she used to fart in her sleep.
But he truly shocked the entertainment industry in 2014 when he ended his own life by hanging. Williams suffered from the onset of Lewy body dementia, and that disease affected his fateful decision. But some people also blame the Illuminati, claiming the infamous and maybe non-existent organization used a popular comedy series to promote their celebrity sacrifice. During the half hour before Williams' death went public, a Family Guy episode aired on BBC Three, in which Robin Williams plays a role in Peter Griffin's attempted suicide.
Damn these hands!
Mwah! Well, I haven't been to temple in a while.
Yes, it was a repeat episode, but the people of the internet found the coincidence rather strange. Number 9. Hunter S. Thompson was murdered as a 9/11 cover-up. If you're familiar with the gonzo journalism of Hunter S. Thompson, then you know that he was truly his own man.
Was Kennedy's murdered by mutants?
He was also known to occasionally cause some trouble, and after the 9/11 attacks, Thompson accused the American government of having been somehow involved and of covering up the truth.
If you don't go with the flow, you're anti-American and therefore a suspect.
In 2005, he allegedly took his own life, but given his outspoken ways, some believe that Uncle Sam may have actually pulled the trigger. However, just as Thompson couldn't prove any of his conspiracy theories about the Twin Towers, nobody's been able to prove the government's direct involvement with his death. What we do know is this: Hunter S. Thompson's ashes were blasted from a cannon into the sky. Number 8. The Clintons killed Vince Foster. Perhaps Vince Foster isn't a well-known figure of pop culture, but he stepped into the spotlight during Bill Clinton's presidency. The Arkansas native worked as a deputy White House counsel for his childhood friend, and he was ultimately...
All right. I'm back. Hang on. bust over there. I busted it out though. So I'm here. Stand by. Get something going here.
We all look at the same world, but we all...
Man, this is tiresome. To have to jump and dance to keep out of the strike zone.
I seek you out, flay you alive. One more word and you won't survive. And I'm not scared of your stolen power. See right through you anyhow. I won't soothe your pain. I won't ease your strain. You'll be waiting in vain. I got nothing for you to gain. I'm taking it slow, feeding my flame, shoveling the cards of your game.
Hello everyone, Frillex here. Before we start, I would like to quickly remind you to subscribe to the channel and to have notifications turned on so you can assure you will be notified of all my new content. If you have already enabled notifications, it might be worthwhile to check and potentially redo the process of allowing notifications because YouTube has made some recent updates and many of my subscribers have told me that although they have notifications, they do not receive notifications of my videos. Today's video is about a recent Jack Black interview where he mentions cloning in Hollywood. Now before I play the clip, the most common response to these types of clips is for it to just be discarded as a joke. Whenever something like this gets said by someone who happens to be funny, it is immediately...
Whoa, man. You know what I just noticed? This fucking guy that I'm playing his video, I'm playing this guy Vrillix. I'm playing his video right now. And you know what I just noticed? He's got one of my fucking songs underneath him talking right now. He's got a song of mine called Spacewalker, or Stratified it's also called. So that's a trip. I'll play you guys the song after. Listen in the background, you hear this thing going doo 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 doo.
regarded as joking and paid no serious attention. This is done intentionally. The truth is hidden in plain sight, and this is a frequent and successful method of having the truth being out there, but also ignored by the masses.
I read the script, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart were already attached, and I was like, these characters are jumping off the page. And my role, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the most popular girl in high school. For some reason, I know how to play that. And then it was such a hit. It was way bigger than I even anticipated. And now, I think we're going to make part 2. I think you have to. I think you, have to.
No, I swear to God, it's under there. I mean, it's no big deal. I'm stoked on it, but I mean, I'm sure he didn't give me no credit for it. Here you go.
They kill you if you try to walk away, and they clone you. And now, I think we're going to make part 2. We're going to make part 2. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the most popular girl in high school. For some reason, I know how to play that. And then it was such a hit. It was way bigger than I even anticipated. And now, I think we're going to make part 2. I think you have to. I think you, have to. They kill you if you try to walk away, and they clone you. And now, I think we're going to make part 2. I think you have to. I think you, have to. They kill you if you try to walk away, and they clone you. They kill you if you try to walk away, and they clone you.
It is worth noting that this interview is about the success of a recent movie, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, and an upcoming sequel. Jumanji is a film featuring consciousness transfer, which is a major factor in cloning. It is also worth noting that the other stars of the film, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart, have both spoken about cloning as well.
Hart, star of the new film Central Intelligence, joining us now. How do you do it? I look on Twitter, there you are. Facebook, there you are. Television, there you are. How do you do it?
I have a clone.
I was going to say that. There's 2 of you.
Cat's out the bag. Okay? It's about a good 3 of me. We broke it. They didn't want to release it yet. This is major news that I'm giving you.
All right.
I'm the first person to ever use it. I'm cloned.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it.
So I'm able to do all that I do.
How do you do it? I look on Twitter, there you are. Facebook, there you are. Television, there you are. How do you do it?
I have a clone.
I was going to say that. There's 2 of you.
Cat's out the bag. Okay? It's about a good 3 of me. We broke it. They didn't want to release it yet. This is major news that I'm giving you.
All right.
I'm the first person to ever use it. I'm cloned.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it.
So I'm able to do all that I do. I have a clone.
I was going to say that. There's 2 of you.
Cat's out the bag. Okay? It's about a good 3 of me. We broke it. They didn't want to release it yet. This is major news that I'm giving you.
All right.
I'm the first person to ever use it. I'm cloned.
Introducing Talk.
This is beyond the realm of coincidence. By now you should know that when it comes to the elite, there are no coincidences. For more content like this in the future, subscribe to the channel, as well as to my backup channel. Have the notifications turned on, so you can find out whenever my new content is up.
Yes, please do. I'll use his announcement there to remind all of you.
With the artist in prison, the silent.
I'm gonna let him do that. But here, what I'm gonna do is grab this real quick. Hang on, we're gonna go there. Hold on. So now, there's a whole bunch of these glitches, man. These people glitch out. Okay, and there's a lot of people think that Eminem is a clone. He's a rapper. He's a cloner. A lot of people think that. There's a whole thing about cloned rappers. All right. So let's check out Tom McDonald, cloned rappers. What is this? I don't know what this is. It could be a song. Yeah, it is. It's a song. Forget this, Sonny. Tried to suck me in. Actually, let's check it out. Why not? I never heard of this dude. Who knows? Maybe we found something. Here we go.
Yeah. The Illuminati knows the answers. Taking bone samples to clone rappers. With the artists in prison to silence their vision. Genetic copies going home after. They look different. Eyes shifted. Smile missing. Skin lifted. It's scientific. If they can't control you, they erase the old. You get your duplication to enforce their message. They clone Gucci, clone Kodak, clone Eminem. He ain't raps his encore. Know that. Cloning rappers when they overdose to keep making money from producing more tracks. They The game is a sham, turning the artists who challenge to sacrificial lambs. The labels and devils are shaking hands, creating our artists in labs.
The executions have been televised, oh, they're on TMZ like every night. They take our heroes, give us weaponized clones. The revolution won't be televised. I can't be replicated. Copy the attitude and the chains, but no one will ever do me the same. I can't be replicated. Try to control me, then guess again. Rebellion lives in my DNA. I can't be replicated. Duplicated, imitated, fabricated, eliminated. No, I can't be replicated. The system designed me to be a slave. I'm the glitch in the matrix that can't escape. I can't be replicated.
If they killed the rappers who were spitting truth, they wouldn't have a messenger to reach the youth. So they duplicate physically, implant abilities, replicate tattoos and cloning facilities. Indie contracts say worldwide, label contracts say universal. For all of time in all forms, they own all your music, your image, your name, and your person. Weird, right? I know you don't think that is facts, but for 50,000 and a hair sample, you can clone your dog or your dying cat. It's another way for them to win the war by weaponizing important celebrities. Don't kill your foes, just clone their gods. Then you'll control all your enemies.
The executions have been televised, oh, they're on TMZ like every night. They take our heroes, give us weaponized clones. The revolution won't be televised. I can't be replicated. Copy the attitude and the chains, but no one will ever do me the same. I can't be replicated. Try to control me, then guess again. Rebellion lives in my DNA. I can't be replicated. Duplicated, imitated, fabricated, eliminated. No, I can't be replicated. The system designed me to be a slave. I'm the glitch in the matrix that can't escape. I can't be replicated. You can see the difference in their face now. Casualties of money and the fame, posing for the cameras with that fake smile. A clone of someone who they used to be. I can't be replicated. Copy the attitude and the chains, but no one.
You may know him as Eminem, but he's going to join the Saturday night crew with our music intro starting next Saturday night. But folks, I want to take you to the world premiere of one of his new videos called Berserk. Take a listen. It's headed for the top of the charts. Rick Rubin, who was helping produce that with you, Marshall, when you did that?
Yeah, sorry. Live TV. Live TV freaks me out a little bit.
No.
Yes, I'm sorry. What was the question?
That was Mr. Rubin, one of the all-time greats producer. Huh? How long does it take you to shoot a video like that? How many takes and how many hours?
Sometimes it's usually like a 2-day process. Sometimes you can go to 3. It's a lot of takes. It's a lot of sitting around waiting, but it's cool. I mean, if the video comes out, then I guess it's worth it.
You want to take a break? Yeah, but you got to be in shape too. But stay right here with us. We're going to kick off the game, and I want to talk about how you're going to intro Saturday Night Football when we come back. We'll have the second half too of tonight's game after these messages. Starting next week at 8 Eastern on ABC, Marshall Mathers will open Saturday Night Football. Mathers, it's a pleasure to have you open the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, and it's an honor to be able to do that.
So you have the single albums coming out in November. What are you most excited about with this new album?
Nothing. No. Well, it'll be out November 5th. I'll probably be most excited to just be done with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's called the Marshall Mathers LP2, and it's kind of a revisit to the first Marshall Mathers LP, and that's pretty much all I could probably say about it. But
one final question before you leave. Some of my friends in Montana wanted me to ask you, will the Lions cover 4.5 tomorrow against Minnesota?
Will the Lions cover 4.5?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, man. I don't ever make a prediction on the Lions because I don't ever want to jinx it. But I'm such a diehard Lions fan, like to the core. So yes, they'll win.
That's all you'll say. Leave it at that.
Yeah. I'm hoping I didn't just jinx it. But
here's the kickoff, Marshall. Stick right here with us now. Harbor, Michigan, and what a pleasure for Herbie and me to introduce Marshall Mathers. Some of you may know him as Eminem, but he's going to join the Saturday Night Crew.
Up, everybody, get back! That's why my opinions are bad, because my rhymes on the tag. It's like I get what it takes and I'm about to begin. So cold, if I could escape and recreate a place that's my own world, and I could be your favorite.
All right, I'm back, Jack. There we go. All right, hang on. I'm still green over there. That's what I was checking. All right, so what do you think? First of all, that rapper, what was his name? Tom McDonald cloned rappers. That was a good one, man. That dude was actually pretty good. Wasn't bad. All right, hang on. Let me switch up on these screens.
You were my sun, you were my earth, but you didn't know all the ways I loved you. No, so you took a chance and made other plans, but I bet you didn't think that they would come crashing down. No, you don't have to say what you did. I already know. I found out right there. There's just no chance we can be. There'll never be.
Yeah. Yes, it is Justin Timberlake. I'm still green over here, and that's good. No, you know, there's a video of Eminem that I was looking for, so I got you that Jack Black. Now, hold on a second. I'm going to prove that dude's got my music on there. Hold on. Hang on. Hang on. Here. For some reason, when I type in the first couple letters of my...
Say he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
We want to investigate how close we actually are to implementing the mark of the beast.
You guys want to hear? This is one of my pieces up there. But whenever I type this in, this is the one that comes up first. So this is just like a montage. Or whatever. Check it out.
We're going to find out that we are closer than most people think.
And I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. The most powerful nation on earth is set to betray its citizens.
You do have rights. Let me ask you this. Where do they come from? People say, well, they come from God. They're God-given rights. No.
Let him who hath understanding know the number of the beast. On a human face.
Your papers? I don't think I have them on me. In that case, you'd have to ask you to come along. Quite possible that yes. Here we are.
Imagine a boot stamping on a human face. The moral to be drawn. If you want a picture of the future nightmare situation, imagine a boot. It's a simple one. Stamping on a human face. Don't let it happen forever. Depends on you.
No matter who you meet, if you say 666, all of a sudden, they know what you're talking about.
2,000 years ago.
that was one of my songs right there. I was just playing. That song's called Somewhere Over the Rainbow Bridge. So, okay, so here's the song that guy snipped, Spacewalker. Check it out. Damn, I was writing some pretty good music back then, boy. I haven't listened to that shit in a while. I've never really played it on the show at all. Anyway, so now what is it? It's 12:30. Well, you know what? I'm gonna play another one of my songs now. I'm gonna play another one right now, just because now I feel like it. Now I'll show you guys some of my music, man. I never talk about it ever. Okay, here's one. I know you'll like this one. I swear to God, I know you guys will like this. Okay, you ready? All right. Everybody that plays this, 60 people have listened to it, and 11 people have liked it, but like 50 people have downloaded it. So people that like it don't necessarily download it, and people that download it don't click like after they download it. That's what I found typically. But the reason I don't say anything is because this music is over there, and it's like I don't promote it. So when I see the numbers of it, when I see when a random person just accidentally somehow finds it, and I see what they do, I see how many people are there and then how many people do something, then it lets me know. It gives me a real idea what it would be like if that song just popped up on the radio or somewhere, if somebody would like it or want to download it. So even though I don't have millions of listens, this shit has been literally copied and downloaded, and it's all over. My shit is literally all over the world on sites all over the world where you can download it for free. I swear to, I'm not even making that shit up, which is funny. But anyway, check this one out. Here's I'll just play like a little bit of each one and just move on. Here you go.
right. Never get out of fucking boat. Hi, Tiger. Bye, Tiger. Goodbye.
Never get out of the boat. Absolutely goddamn right. Unless you were going all the way.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Hey, sorry. Honest to God, I'm not stroking myself or whatever. I mean, I'm just listening to this. I haven't listened to a lot of this stuff in years, literally. Some of these songs. Some of these songs I have not listened to in years, honest to God. So, anyways, let me, I just want to play one more, and then I'm going to stop playing it. I'm not doing it because I'm just doing it because I forgot about a lot of these. Nice. That one's called Soul Amore, if you guys go over there. All right, well, this has been one hell of a Sunday morning wake and bake, man. How long's this shit been going on for? 3-hour tour, ladies and gentlemen. A 3-hour tour. I'm going to go out with the theme from Gilligan's Island. Hold on. I gotta edit this down or whatever. Hang on. Gilligan's Island theme. Hang on. Gilligan Island. And then I'm going to go Gilligan's Island for the rest of the day. Because it's a sunny day here in FEMA Region 9. So I'm going to take advantage of it while taking advantage of it is good. And, yeah. So,
Can you hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship? The mate was a mighty sailing man, the skipper brave and sure. 5 passengers set sail that day for a 3-hour tour, a 3-hour tour. The weather started getting rough, the tiny ship was tossed. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost. The minnow would be lost. The ship's aground on the shore of this uncharted
Curious no snacks made with real veggies.
With Gilligan, the skipper too, the millionaire and his wife, the movie star, and the